Hey honey buns, I am the Courtney Williams, and today's video is going to be about my teaching experience as a black woman in Hanoi, Vietnam, and the current struggles that I'm facing. If you guys are interested, keep watching. Alright honey bun, so as you guys know, I'm in Hanoi, Vietnam right now, specifically so I can teach English and save some money. But I am having some problems surrounding my blackness with my employer. And I just felt like it was vital for me to share this experience with you guys, because as a traveler, not everything that you experience is gonna be amazing and great. And as a black person, whether you're a traveler or not, it's important for you to know what experiences other black people are having around the world, because your community is so much bigger than just your local neighborhood. And whether you believe it or not, what affects one eventually affects the rest. So today I'm gonna be sharing a bit of a timeline of a couple of things that have happened or occurred within the last 2 to 3 weeks, and also like my thoughts and how I'm feeling about everything. So my first week with the company, I felt like went pretty great. Like, aside from my one class that was kind of wild, I felt like it went pretty great. I had 4 regular classes and then like a bunch of demo classes to kind of fill in the rest of my hours for the week. But even with the one wild class, because both of literally me and my TA was kind of like, what did we get ourselves into? Because they was really wild. But with all the classes, as we progressed through the week and, you know, as the weeks after that came, I really built a structure for our class to where the kids know what to expect. Like, if I say to do something, they know to do it. If I start counting, that means you're not moving quick enough and you need to put a little more pep in your step, you know? So it's like, you know, the class is really comfortable where the kids are listening, they're actually doing what I'm saying, we're all learning, we're having a good time, and we're gonna get some candy at the end of class. So I was, you know, having a good time teaching with the company, not having any problems initially. And then one of our well, I want to call her our manager because I'm not really sure what her title is, but I know she has a bit more responsibility than me. She messaged me and she basically said that Becky, the lady who trained me, wasn't going to be able to do my my review because she like went to go handle something out of town or whatever. And I was still like okay with that. Like, it didn't bring up like any alarms in my head, because I knew during training that within the first couple of weeks I would have a review of my class. And I was okay with that because, you know, I felt like my classes were going really great. Like, I didn't have any behavioral issues or anything like that. So she was just kind of like, hey, you know, I really want to meet up with you. Becky's not going to be here. We want to have this review with you and kind of go over your teaching style and all that good jazz. And if you're free, let me know when we can have tea. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. So I didn't think anything of it. So we meet up like one day before I had class, like a few hours before, and we're talking, and she basically, it was not a review. She said nothing about my class teaching at all. This was basically her wanting to tell me to wear my hair in a particular way. If you guys remember, I had my hair in like a fro. So she basically wanted me to wear my hair up in like a wrap instead of like out. And in this meeting, I didn't really take it seriously because I already went into the meeting like real like laid back or whatever, kind of like, you know, this is just a review and I know I'm gonna get a good review. And then in the meeting, when she's telling me about my hair and how, you know, some of the kids were scared, I was thinking like, which kids? Because all my regular kids are like, we all friends. We friends now. And it might have been with some of my demo or trials, but I think that I'm just kind of a rebel and you're not gonna tell me how I'm gonna wear my hair. So I just kind of really chunked that meeting up like, Like, girl, you're wasting your time. Like, I'm gonna wear my hair however I feel comfortable. Like, this is not a corporate job, boo. I'm a traveler. All of us teachers who are here are travelers. You're not gonna tell me how I'm gonna wear my hair. It's just not gonna happen. So we leave the meeting and I continue teaching, and I end up getting my review a few days later via email. Everything is perfect. No like corrections or anything with my teaching style or how I'm teaching or anything. A few weeks pass and we then end up having a second meeting. So she messages us in our group chat and says that there's some overtime opportunities available. So of course, for the days that I was free, I let her know that I could cover, because what? I came to Vietnam to get these coins. So she replies via DM and tells me that there's some other great opportunities available, and she wants to meet up with me. She wants to have a sit down, have a meeting so we can discuss them whenever I'm available. So I was like, okay, we can set up a meeting. I'm available on this day. So we set a time, set a date. And she says, don't worry, this is a good meeting, so don't worry, it's nothing to worry about. So I was like, okay. So I kind of got a little excited, because I'm like, what kind of opportunity could this be? Because, you know, I haven't been with the company for that long. So, you know, is this more money? Is this more overtime? Like, what kind of opportunity is this? Is she gonna tell me? So I go to the meeting. We sit down. The first thing that she's asking me is, how are you feeling at your centers? Is everybody treating you okay? Are you uncomfortable? And I was a bit puzzled, because she just seemed very concerned, like on a deep level. It didn't seem like, you know, lighthearted, like, is everything okay at your centers? Or how's everything going? Like, it didn't seem that lighthearted. So I was, you know, like, I was curious, like, what's happening? You know, like, is something else happening that I don't know? So I asked her, I tell her, you know, I feel like everything is going great, but is there something that you know that you want to tell me? And she tells me that she's been getting complaints because the kids are scared of me. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? What kids? What kids? Who? Who? Which ones are scared? Because in my regular class, everybody is excited to come to class now. Like, we have, you know, like, we have a good rapport at this point. My trial class, they might cry in the beginning, but by the end of the class, we all friends, and they're happy to be, you know, like, they're happy when they're leaving my class. So what kids are you talking about? Because, you know, like, we know how pre-K is. We know how kindergarten is on the first day. So which kids? So she then tells me that she thought that these centers would be ready, but she's realizing with this situation that they're not. The Vietnamese culture sometimes is very ignorant to other cultures, and the idea or the visual that they have of a foreign teacher is basically of a white person. So I just kind of got like, you know, like, I could feel myself getting angry. So I was like just listening to what she had to say, and then she presented this grand opportunity that she basically wanted me to move from both of my centers to other centers, and she wanted me to train again for the other program that they have, the one that's been there longer. And she wanted to be able to, you know, get me in other centers, and she felt like if I was trained for both of these programs, it would be easier for her to sell me to these centers, as I'm more flexible because I'm trained in both, so I can teach any class that's needed. And I just told her that I'm not comfortable with that. I was really pissed off after this meeting because, one, I'm here on my off day, and I just felt like a little bit bamboozled in the way that this meeting was set up. And then I felt like, you know, like it's some shady shit going on in my centers, because nobody wants to feel like they're in a workplace and they're being open and friendly to the people who are working in this workplace, as well as the kids, as well as the parents, and lo and behold, behind my back there's this, you know, all these complaints and things happening just because I'm black. Like, I was really upset about it, and I just kind of felt like, you know, like, this isn't right. It's not right. And I felt like I shouldn't have to move centers because of this. If we're being honest, I feel like aside from anger, I was very just like caught off guard, because I feel like this was the last thing that I was expecting to have to deal with. Like, this never crossed my mind, because one, I've taught English in 2 other Asian cultures in Southeast Asia and didn't have any problem as a black person whatsoever. And after this meeting, still working in those centers, I found myself being angry going into these centers, because, you know, I'm like I don't want to be friendly and kiki with y'all. Like, don't be smiling in my face and it's a problem. Like, girl, like, I just was real like, how do I move forward? Because I have never had to deal with anything of this magnitude, even in America. Like, yes, there's race in America, but I feel like maybe it's just more discreet. I don't know, but I've never had to deal with such blatant in your face, like, we don't want you here because you black. Like, or you can't be here because you're black. Like, I have never had to deal with that. And so I was really like, how do I move forward? Do I need to find another job? Like, what I need to do? Like, what do I need to do? How do I go? How do I move forward from here? So fast forward a few weeks, and we receive an email blast from our headquarters, which everyone got it who worked within the company. So I have the email attachment pulled up on my computer because I want to read it to you guys verbatim. But we received this email because a non-native speaker was hired and then basically unhired within a matter of like a few days. So literally the recruiter hired them, like, let's say on a Friday, and then on Monday the policy changed, or the hiring process decision changed, some kind of policy change, and the recruiter was no longer able to hire this non-native speaker. Okay, so the email attachment reads as follows. Hi blank. It breaks my heart that I must write this email to you under these circumstances. Let me get straight to the point. We can no longer hire you to work at one of our blank English centers. What happened is that I was given permission to hire one non-native for each of the new center openings. That was the confirmed plan I was working with. And then when I interviewed you, I was glad to extend the job offer. Now, as of this morning, management has changed their mind. Please understand the fear they have, which is that parents think with heavily racial undertones, and their expectation is their children will be taught by a native speaker. The parents often care less about the quality of the teacher and more about the appearance of the teacher, specifically skin tone. I think that this is wrong and unacceptable, but it appears that there is nothing I can do. I apologize deeply to you for the inconvenience this causes and the time that's been wasted. I only wish that there was something more I could do. Sincerely, the recruiter. Now, please note that based on this email, based on my 2 previous meetings, and also based on some things that I've observed about the so-called non-native speakers in Vietnam, as far as non-native speakers of white skin tones or lighter skin tones seem to have no problem getting jobs here in Vietnam. even if they don't really speak English that well. Like, to be an English teacher, you would think the main requirement is that you would be able to properly speak English. And sometimes some non-natives, are a good majority of the non-natives who, you know, are of whiter skin tone, don't. And they don't have a problem getting the job or having any type of issues. So I believe that this non-native speaker is African, because it's a lot of Africans here, it's a lot of Africans within Asia. So after that email, I thought maybe they're on edge a bit, and maybe they might use this as an opportunity to rethink how they are dealing with this skin tone issue. So I didn't hear from the manager for a few more weeks, so I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, like, okay, maybe this is something we're gonna act like didn't happen, and we're gonna move forward and be, you know, copacetic. Until today. Until today. So she messaged me and tells me that she had tried to call me and when I'm free to let her know. So I tell her, you know, I'm at work a little bit early. I have like 15 minutes before class, so, you know, if you're free now, we could talk. So she calls me. She tells me that there's been a new teacher hired who is going to replace me at my center because my center is growing. And I will still be at my second center, as well as I will replace my first center with another center that's closer to my second center. And she said she felt like it would be a better fit since both of these centers are ran by the same center manager. And I just was kind of like real immediately like taken a bit like off guard, and because I don't know, I just was like real off guard because, you know, I've expressed my feelings about this. I've expressed that this is not something I want to do and that I'm not comfortable with this. And it's like, it seemed to me like it didn't matter, and I felt like it just didn't matter. I felt like it didn't matter. And I told her, you know, this is not something I want to do. This is not, you know, like I'm not comfortable with it. And how do you tell me the day before I'm supposed to go to this center that I'm not going to work there? Like, you know, it's like I built a rapport with my kids. I built a routine, and I guess I'm not even gonna be able to tell these kids bye. I don't know, maybe I'm getting emotional about it, but I just was very uneasy. And I told her that I was very disappointed because I think I'm disappointed in the culture, because it's like we're all, like, not even me, but a lot of people are trying to blame these racial undertones in Asia as ignorance, or as they don't really know, or you're probably the first black person and all that kind of jazz. But I feel like the company has to take some responsibility. And I told her, you know, I just feel very disappointed within the company that you guys are letting ignorance fuel your decisions. I guess the goal is to move these Asian countries forward economically. Overall, maybe that's why they're putting so much funding behind it. I just feel like interacting with foreigners is a part of learning the English language. It is also beneficial to realize that foreigners and the English language comes in many different shapes, sizes, and colors. And you cannot be so ignorant to think that foreigners are only white. Like, you cannot. Like, you cannot. That is not helping your culture. It's not in any way. It's not helping your culture. I think my biggest thing about this, aside from, well, I feel like I have a few things about this, because I guess I'm still figuring out or working through how I want to handle this, or how I'm going to move forward, because Like I said, this is nothing that I have ever had to deal with before. But I think the pointers about it is like, the Vietnamese people are not that ignorant. Me having to move centers because of it doesn't make me feel confident within the work culture. I just feel very uneasy about, you know, my year here, because I'm just like, I just want to make my money and roll out, but I feel like it's getting complicated. All right, honey bun, so this is gonna be it for today. I know it was a lot, and I know that this is a touchy topic, but like I said, this is the first time that I've had to deal with something of this magnitude since I've been in Asia. I don't even feel like I've dealt with anything on this level, like I said, even in America. So I'm curious to know how you guys would move forward or deal with this character building moment if you were in this situation. So let me know in the comment section below, as well as subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up, and remember, people will stay and make it worth their while, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.